State and local IT agencies have been a prime target for cyber threat actors, especially over the past couple of years. For most agencies, though, finding the right cyber skills to help combat emerging threats remains a mission-critical challenge. Joining us to talk about the benefits of working with IT managed service providers to meet those challenges is John Zanni, CEO for Acronis SCS. Acronis SCS is a US-based technology company that provides cyber protection and edge data security to meet the unique needs of the US public sector. John, thank you so much for joining us.
Wyatt, it's great to be here. Thank you for having me.
So in light of the new and emerging cyber risks that state and local agencies are facing, what are you seeing as the most critical concerns that agency leaders are really dealing with to secure their data?
Well, the truth is the challenge that agencies have today is they have a lot of competing priorities. Obviously, COVID is on the top of the list there with these variants that keep coming up and affecting our economy and the way people behave. Then there's all these cyber attacks, ransomware attacks, phishing attacks. And the challenge is that those bad actors are getting more and more sophisticated. And many of these agencies just don't have the capacity or the budget and sometimes the people to be able to keep up to date and protect themselves against these attackers.
So how can managed service providers or MSPs help agencies really deal with some of that complexity of integrating multiple solutions and managing their IT systems over the long run?
So I've talked to quite a number of small cities, local agencies, even county level and state level, and they all are in a different position in terms of the type of resources they have. And one thing is common, a lot of them have legacy systems, they don't have time to keep up to date, the rules for certification and what you need to do change. MSPs, that's their job, is to really provide IT services at a low cost, at a high quality, that's easy to manage and up to date. And so with the right partnership with the right MSP, especially those who have served public sector, the agencies can not have to worry as much about their data protection and focus on other bigger items like COVID or budgets or making sure that their cities and states can run.
John, can you point to some examples where agencies or organizations have been able to modernize and secure their data actually faster by working with an MSP?
Sure. So, for example, there's a city that by using an MSP and a trusted partner, they get an automatic deployment of the agents to all the endpoint devices, their servers. The MSP is the one who monitors and runs the backups, helps with the recoveries, make sure you have the latest antivirus, anti-malware system. If there is an attack, because typically we see attacks in groups, then they can notify that agency and let them know that this is happening, what they need to do to protect themselves. Unfortunately, the most common path to a successful attack is the people, right? Clicking on an email, entering your password, and it's nobody's fault in particular. It just, that's how it happens. If you can get an alert and say, hey, today there's a big phishing attack, you'll see it. It starts with HR needs this. That helps prevent those attacks from being successful. And the MSP can do that for you as part of a service.
Well, finally, one development we're seeing is the evolution of the cybersecurity maturity model certification framework from the Department of Defense that contractors are having to contend with, and that will likely eventually trickle down to agencies at the state and local level as well. How can MSPs help agencies navigate through these requirements?
So what agencies need to understand is that the way that the federal government and state government are starting to combat these bad actors and these successful attacks is by offering or giving penalties in one form or another for agencies that are not compliant. So for example, the latest attack, if you had not updated your systems, you risk a fine, right? Those requirements are going to continue and increase. Insurance rates for ransomware attacks are going up and requiring the insuree to have a solid cybersecurity plan and tools in place. What MSPs can do is help you navigate all these requirements. CMMC is this next generation of requirements. Version 1 has 171 controls over 17 domains. It's an improvement on NIST 171-800. I have dedicated compliance people in my own organization just to translate what we need to do and stay up to date in this. A small city of 3,000 people, let's say, will not have or be able to afford that kind of resource. By partnering with an MSP, they'll keep up to date and keep you compliant. What's important, the one big piece of advice that I would give the agencies, make sure you're using MSPs that are using compliance services, that they can prove to you they have the certificates, or if they're an unaudited, not certification, but compliance like CGIS or HIPAA, that they were audited by a third-party auditor that says we took a look and they are compliant. It's super important. Unfortunately, there are a lot of companies out there that claim that they're certified, but they're actually not. And so that's an important piece as well.
Great advice and appreciate that. Well, John Zanni, thank you so much for joining us today to talk about what state and local agencies stand to gain by working with local IT managed service providers.
My pleasure to be here. And like I said, just as a takeaway, work with them. They'll work with you both on the tools, the people, and the processes to stay safe and focus on other urgent items. Thank you very much for having me, Wyatt.
Mm-hmm.